I've got the signers, but let's move on now. I want to move on now to beyond the signers. I want to talk about states. All 50 states have a constitution. And what I want to do now, if it's a particular state you'd like to hear what your preamble says to the state that you're most interested in, call out the state and I'm going to read you what it says. You're going to be surprised. Any particular has a state you're interested in? California. California. You wouldn't think California would say this. California says, in 1879, the preamble says, "We, the people of the state of California, grateful to Almighty God for our freedom." What was the next one? Florida. Florida, in 1885, the preamble said, "We, the people of the state of Florida, grateful to Almighty God for our constitutional liberty, established this Constitution." Give me another one. New Jersey. Now, Jersey's an interesting place, right? Now, here's what New Jersey said in 1844. "We, the people of the state of New Jersey, grateful to Almighty God for civil and religious liberties which He hath so long permitted us to enjoy, and looking to Him for a blessing on our endeavors." The people of New Jersey actually were putting in their constitution, they were looking to God to take care. Yes?
Massachusetts, but are these still in their constitution today?
These are in most of their constitutions still today. I've not gone through and checked how they've been. This has been what they were when they were created. Massachusetts. "We, the people of Massachusetts, acknowledging with grateful hearts the goodness of the great legislature of the universe, in the course of His providence, in opportunity, and devoutly imploring His direction." They were asking for God's guidance. Yes? Philip, Pennsylvania. All right, got you. 1776. "We, the people of Pennsylvania, grateful to Almighty God for the blessings of civil and religious liberty, and humbly invoking His guidance." Nevada. We could spend a long time on Nevada. In 1864, "We, the people of the state of Nevada, grateful to Almighty God for our freedom, established this Constitution." New York. 1846. "We, the people of the state of New York, grateful to Almighty God for our freedom in order to secure its blessings." Yes. Ohio. In 1852. "We, the people of the state of Ohio, grateful to Almighty God for our freedom to secure its blessings and to promote our common good." Virginia. And Virginia was actually in our Bill of Rights and said, "Religion, or the duty which we owe our Creator, can be directed only by reason, and that it is the mutual duty of all to practice Christian forbearance, love, and charity toward each other." Those of us from Virginia have a Christian duty, according to our Constitution, to practice. It's amazing. If we went through all 50 states, any more than one to call out? Illinois. In 1870, "We, the people of the state of Illinois, grateful to Almighty God for the civil and political and religious liberty which He hath so long permitted us to enjoy, and looking to Him for a blessing on our endeavors." They were seeking God's blessing. Every state is represented by acknowledging God, being grateful for the freedom. You see, folks, it's only been in the last 100 years that the move has been made by liberal activists to try to steal from us our Christian heritage. This is not a situation of isolated, us picking out a few quotes. I've got several sources. I sell none of these, so it's not like I'm trying to sell books. We'll get to the Ten Commandments, hopefully, before I close out a little bit today. This book gives the history of the Ten Commandments and how it was adopted in each of our country. This is 3 secular reasons why America should be under God. This has all of the different states as well as the presidential inaugural addresses. And this book here is a phenomenal book that I've found called America's God and Country, Encyclopedia of Quotations. Just about every quotation that involves God made by one of our founding fathers and leaders is contained in this book. And yes, there is a CD that's searchable, that you can copy all of this. Now, I want to move on now, because we've heard the states speak, we've heard our founding fathers speak. Now I want to move on, and we're going to talk about our president speaking. Is there a particular president that you would like to hear what that particular president said in his inaugural address? Is there one? Yes. Abraham Lincoln. Of course, he had several. I'll read the one from 1861, March 4th. The candid citizen must confess that if the policy of the government upon vital questions affecting the whole people is to be irrevocably fixed by decisions of the Supreme Court, the instant they are made, the people will have ceased to be their own rulers, having to that extent practically resigned their government into the hands of an eminent tribunal. And then just 45 days prior to his assassination, Lincoln wrote the following. Both read the same Bible and pray to the same God. The prayers of both could not be answered. Lincoln, one of the last act that Lincoln signed before he was assassinated, the last act that he signed was to inscribe the phrase, "In God we trust," on our coinage. Lincoln was an extremely godly man in all that he did. Yes, someone else. John F. Kennedy. Everybody remembers Kennedy for the "ask not what you can do for your country, but you can yourself you can do for your country." But Kennedy had some interesting things to say. As I read, I'm going to find Kennedy here. Kennedy got up there in 1961, January the 20th, and said the following. Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, in order to assure the survival and success of liberty. Let both sides united to heed in all corners of the earth the command of Isaiah, to undo the heavy burdens and let it go to the oppressed go free. He was quoting Isaiah 58:6. Now the trumpet summons us again, not as a call to bear arms, through arms we need, not as a call to battle, though embattled we are, but a call to bear the burden of a long twilight struggle, year in and year out, quote, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation. That's a reference to Romans 12:12. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Let us go forth to lead the land we love, asking His blessing and His help. Those are capital H's. But knowing that here on earth, God's work must truly be our own. We don't see presidents quoting the Bible too much. Now, I'll tell you, if you have a chance to read, Ronald Reagan probably quoted the Bible more than any of them in modern day era. Yes? George Washington. I've enjoyed reading some of the things that Ronald Reagan wrote. He addressed the gay issue back in the 1980s. He said he was asked specifically about didn't he think the gays were entitled to the same rights? He said, I think they already have the same rights. He said, the problem is I'm being asked to adopt their lifestyle. And that, according to the Bible, he quoted the Bible, said is an abomination to God. Interesting thought way back in the early 1980s. George Washington says, we ought to be no less persuaded that the perpetuous smiles of heaven can never be expected on a nation that disregards the eternal rules of order and right which heaven itself has ordained. So what he was saying is, don't expect God's blessing if you're going to go against the law of God. One more. You know, it's funny. I'm doing an expanded version of The Truth About America. That was just a 68-page introduction, and the second book's going to be about 175 pages. And as I went through all of the ones, there were certain presidents I intentionally did not put in there because I reviewed a lot of them because I couldn't bring myself to put Bill Clinton because obviously he had some moral falls. I'm not attacking his policies in politics. I'm practicing moral falls. But anyway, Nixon. And Nixon's another one that was kind of interesting. Only a few short weeks ago, this is from January 20th, 1969. Only a few short weeks ago, as we shared the glory of man's first sight of the world as God sees it, as a single spear reflecting light in the darkness, as the Apollo astronauts flew over the moon's gray surface on Christmas Eve, they spoke to us of the beauty of our earth, and in that voice so clear across the lunar distance, we have heard them invoke God's blessing on its goodness. Let us go forward, firm in our faith, steadfast in our purpose, cautious of the dangers, but sustained by our confidence in the will of God. Interestingly, on January the 20th, as part of about 4 years later, on his second inaugural address, he said the following, we shall answer to God. Fascinating, isn't it? Yes.